couple of years ago, I stumbled across a lovely little tactic of not feeding a lot of bait. Basically, feeding as little amount of bait as you can, only to draw 1 or 2 fish in your peg, making them easy to catch. So this method, I use it when the temperature gets below 10 degrees into single figures. It makes it a lot easier to catch them when you haven't got no bait on the bottom and you're only trying to draw 1 or 2 fish in. Now on winter commercials that are shallow, just like this one here at Westwood, the fish's metabolism have slowed down, obviously due to the cold weather, so therefore feeding less bait is always better. But I actually feed less bait than a lot of people. This tactic works absolutely perfect on the majority of commercials in the winter. As long as they're no deeper than 5 foot, you can get away with just tapping in a tiny little amount of bait. A key point with this tactic is to be very patient and very accurate. You don't want too many fish over your small amount of bait, so therefore you're just waiting for the one opportunity to get when a fish takes it. For example, we're here today at the lovely Westwood Lakes. Absolutely fantastic venue, very shallow. We're on the Falcon Lake today. This tactic works absolutely spot on. We're still fishing for 80, maybe even 90 pound of fish some days here, and I may not even feed half a pint of bait. Now it's the same as every method. The rig that you use is absolutely crucial. So for me, this means I have to have a float that I can see. You'll always see me using a yellow, possibly an orange tip float, because I can't see red. As for the float tip itself, I don't use anything less than 1.5 mil. That makes it easier for me to distinguish between bites and line bites. And it also means that I have to use a wire stem float. So I use a wire stem float for stability, and also the float cocks straight away, so any bites you get just as that float's settling, you see them. The last thing you want to be doing is striking at bites that aren't proper bites. You could potentially foul hook fish and ruin your peg. As for shotting, I keep it very simple. I have a spread bulk that I alter the distance between the shots depending on how the fishing's going and also the depth. This time of year, as for main lines, I use 4-pound line, which is 0.16. All my hook lengths are tied to 0.10, and as for hooks, there can only be one hook for me. That's the Acolyte Maggot Plus. This is because I need a hook that's reliable, strong, and stays sharp for the duration of the match. Now you'll see on my side tape today, I've got very simple bait. My bait consists of some pellets and some white maggots. White maggots for me are an absolute must. A lot of commercial fisheries are still coloured this time of year, and I think the fish can find the bait a lot easier. So whereabouts in my swim do I choose to fish? This is obviously a very important factor, and I spend a lot of time plumbing up. The reason for this is I want to make sure my rig is fishing correctly on a flat area, and also that my bait doesn't roll away. Ideally, this is out of the deepest water and towards the far bank. For me, 3 foot is the ultimate depth. It's not too deep and it's not too shallow. The fish still have some water above their heads so they can feed confident, and they're not too shallow so they get spooked. A perfect elastic for this time of year is the 1.4 mil yellow hybrid elastic. This is because it retracts perfectly in the pole, it gives you plenty of elastic that comes out on the strike, and if I do hook a bigger fish, in conjunction with my puller kit, I know I've got a chance of landing it. Through today's session and my experience on the venue, I've tapped in 6 maggots a time. Then by being patient and sitting with 2, possibly 3 maggots on the hook, I've managed to keep bites coming throughout the day. One thing you notice I'll do is when I put some maggots in my pot, I dip it under the water. Now I do this so that the maggots stick to the pot and don't bounce out while shipping out. Although patience is the name of the game, I do think a key part is to lift and drop your rig. I do this because I think it entices a bite. The fish see the maggots and they snatch at it and you get your bite. Next time you're out on the bank, if the weather's cold like it is today, try this. You'll be surprised what you catch.